Hey guys, Travis Daggett, Forefront Enterprises. Just wanted to give you an update on um, real estate market, housing, investing, and what some of the regulations, the federal government regulations, mean. There was a new article just came out, I believe it was today or yesterday, and I wrote a blog about it as well. You can check that out. At our new website. It's instantlandlords.com. And the article talks about the biggest hindrance to the housing market is not interest rates, it's actually regulation. And we've seen this to be true for sure in our business. Just to give you an example of one regulation out of dozens, hundreds, thousands of regulations of the banks and mortgage companies. But there's something called an anti-flip regulation, and it's a 90-day deed restriction. So what that means is, and again, this came through the government and through Fannie and Freddie, and while the law has come and gone at different times in different ways, like so many regulations from the federal government, the end result is that people are confused, mortgage companies are confused, and as the saying goes, the confused mind says no. In this case, the fear of of government action has led most mortgage companies to just take the side of, in their mind, safety, and so adhere to the deed restriction even if it's not the law. So what that means, what the deed restriction is it restricts the sale of a property for more than a 20% profit for 90 days after purchasing the property. And we've run into this on, a number of properties. So what that means is if you purchased, as a real estate investor, you purchased a property for $100,000 and you wanted to turn around and sell it, let's say in the same day or a week or a month or a couple months, it limits your profit, or your sale price rather, to $120,000. Now at that price point you could still make a profit, although with closing costs you may only come out with 110 or less if it's a retail buyer. But when you get into the lower price points, where we're buying houses at many times, and you look at a $30,000 house and a 20% profit, now you're only talking about $6,000. And that can get really skinny depending on the buyer and the closing costs and money costs. So what we end up doing, and we have a couple of these that we're doing right now, is when we find a buyer, we end up leasing the property. And again, this is more of a homeowner buyer, but we end up leasing the property to them for 3 months. So they make a down payment or a deposit to us. Then they pay us monthly. They pay us rent, and of course we have a lease agreement with them for that 90 days, and then they purchase the house. So of course the monthly payments and the down payment or deposit are non-refundable. So if for some reason they do not end up purchasing the house, then they don't get that money back. Now, one of the things that we do up front to make sure that it's good for us and good for them is we make sure that we have a letter from their mortgage company showing that they are approved. The only reason that we're not able to do it right away is the 90-day deed restriction. So like so many regulations, of course, the people that it's supposed to protect and help, or at least that's what people say it's designed to do, the homeowner or the buyer, it really doesn't do anything to protect them. In fact, all it does is delays them buying the home for a few months, and they actually end up paying more, because since we're not going to be getting our money back right away or our profit right away, we charge them more. We have to. We're going to be getting our profit 90 days later, so we raise the price that we're going to sell it to them at. And in addition, they're paying us their monthly lease amount, they rent them out, and we have their deposit. And then if something happens where they're not able to get the loan, they lose all that money. So it ends up hurting the so-called little guy, or the average middle income person that these regulations are supposed to help. But the good news is there is an opportunity for real estate investors who stay educated, think outside the box, think creatively, and find ways to win regardless of the regulations. And there's always a way to win. Or I should say there's usually a way to win and still be honest and legal and ethical and moral and above board. So I hope that helps and gives you some insight into the market and some different ways to do things. Check out our blog, instantlandlords.com. You can check out our YouTube channel. Just search for Forefront Enterprises. A lot of videos on education there, all for free. Thanks. See you next time.